It's April 7th, 2022, 42 days of war in Ukraine. If you go to liveuamap.com, you will see a real-time map of Russian occupation in Ukraine. Today, April 7th, the map shows major Russian military presence and occupation in the south, southeast, and east of Ukraine, primarily in the Donbas, Crimea, and the port cities Kherson and Mariupol, and just on the outskirts of Mykolaiv and Zaporizhia. It is a large area, but compared to 2 weeks ago, it's a stark difference. In our coverage, we've watched and reported anxiously as the red occupied areas increased in size. Reports of Kiev being surrounded, Chernobyl workers being held hostage, the cities of Chernihiv, Sumy, and Kharkiv all facing relentless shelling grew every day. It is a relief to look at the live map today and see the hotspots nearly erased from the map. There are still reports of air raid sirens in Kharkiv, Cherkasska, and Kharkivska oblasts. A report of a 32-year-old man in the Holahiv village near Kiev killed by a car bomb, strikes on oil depots, reports of death and bombings from above by saboteurs, still a lot of reports of rape. The threat is still real, but hope, too, is real. Just yesterday, 15,000 refugees were relocated by Ukrainian railways. A Red Cross convoy brought refugees from southeast Ukraine to the liberated city of Zaporizhia, and the villages of Dobryanka, Trudolubivka, and Novodonetsky were liberated. Good things are happening. 2 weeks ago, we interviewed a volunteer with helpingtoleave.org to get an idea of how evacuation in Ukraine works. We've been plugging Helping to Leave for a few weeks now, and for this episode, we're happy to finally release this interview. And first, we waited to release this interview because it deals directly with the process of evacuating people, their locations, their routes, their destinations. To keep people safe, it's better to provide old information. Next, our source, Yury, has asked us not to use his real name. He is a supervisor for Helping to Leave. He works 20 hours a day, following the information coming into the organization, coordinating evacuation routes, and communicating directly with refugees, including providing financial assistance out of pocket, even meeting some in person to provide aid. Yury is Russian and still has family in Russia. If his identity is released, his family could be in direct danger. Yury lives in the Czech Republic and, in his words, has lost friends over not only the current war, but also over the annexation of Crimea and the invasion of the Donbas and the war in Georgia. Yury is one of many Russian expats volunteering their services to Helping to Leave. Helping to Leave has over 300 volunteers who work 24/7 to keep information up to date, talking with people who are stuck in Ukraine, trying to keep them safe and evacuate them safely. Russia has said that some 600,000 Ukrainians have been evacuated to Russia. Helping to Leave does not advocate for evacuation to Russia. They recommend against it. We feel this is an important point to make. These volunteers are dissidents. They are advocates for the safety of Ukrainian citizens, and that safety cannot be provided within Russia itself. Yury has been with Helping to Leave almost from the very beginning. It was hard at first, disorganized, and he was unsure about it.
No, I just came to demonstration near a Russian embassy. One of the first days, I think it was really second days, day four, and met one guy who was sharing the number, volunteering, and I just joined it. For the first days, it was unorganized, and I was thinking to leave the project because it was kind of chaotic process and there are no correct information. But I started next day, I guess, already in a call, just in conditions close to war conditions, and yeah, it happened. It helped, and I started to communicate on a daily basis.
I asked Yury what changed, why he didn't quit, and how the group became more organized.
Self-organizing, nothing else. I just and everyone got more experience, more sources of data we're collecting, and yeah, some small effort from everyone is a big movement for project.
So here's how Helping to Leave works, how it's set up. Say you're in Ukraine. Maybe you live in a small village, maybe you live in a suburb of a major city. Maybe you're in a major city. Wherever you are, if you have a phone, you can reach Helping to Leave. The organization uses the Telegram messaging app to communicate with Ukrainians. When you go to the Helping to Leave website, it directs you to the Telegram channel, where striking up a conversation with a help bot puts you in contact with a real person. It's not a bot at all. The real person starts asking you questions. They find out where you are. And then Yury gets to work. In general, he knows the routes to and from all major cities, but he isn't familiar with all of the villages. Yury uses online maps. LiveUAMap.com is a big one. And then they use other Telegram channels to fit the pieces together. Is there food nearby? Is there shelter? Is there someone with a car who can drive you to safety? Yury, the supervisor, is in communication with a fact checker who verifies all the information that comes in through the chats, and the bot helping you gives you the verified information. Everyone works closely together, even though they may be thousands of miles apart. And in spite of that distance, there is a closeness.
Yeah, we're almost not joking, yeah, but always in touch, and the feeling is it's a beautiful feeling when you're working with such a big team, and first day everyone is new, second day you know half of people, next day everyone knew you, and you know almost everyone, and it's a beautiful feeling when you can get such amount of friends, really friends in few days. Yeah, some of them are leaving because we're getting tired or some personal reasons, but for now I can see that we are growing.
In our interview, while we were discussing the live UA map, Yury made a comment about Odessa, which has not seen any direct shelling, unlike the hardest hit cities of Mariupol and Kharkiv. He said that it meant too much to Putin.
Yes, I have refugees exactly from Odessa in my house, and I have friends that came from Odessa or still living there. Odessa is a symbolic place for Putin and Russians, so it's we're counting that it's a Russian city, and yeah, a lot of Russian speaking living there, and it's a beautiful city with lots of historical buildings, a lot of uh, nice, significant, I know, some meaningful things in Russian culture, movies, and I really believe that Putin cannot damage this city. It's really helping the city to, because they cannot damage it. And also as a strategic point that Odessa is available only from the seaside, and seaside is a small line of sand and big rocks between the sand and sea and Odessa. So it's really hard to put troops there or descend someone here, and they cannot do nothing to reach the city from sea, just fire rockets. But they don't want to fire rockets and destroy some historical buildings, and trying to find a way from Nikolaev region, mostly by ground, but for now they cannot even pass from Nikolaev.
A few days ago, April 3rd, it was reported that an oil refinery in Odessa had been destroyed by a rocket. This would be in an industrial zone, far away from the buildings Yury thinks won't be damaged. At this point, Odessa is threatened only from the sea. 40 kilometers west of Odessa is Palanka in Moldova, and the way is unobstructed. There are no Russian troops along the way. That's great news if you're in Odessa already, but getting to Odessa is another matter. Now, you may have missed it, but at the end of that last clip, Yury says that getting to Odessa from Mykolaiv is impossible. While Russian troops have been driven away or retreated from many Ukrainian cities over the last 2 weeks, Mykolaiv remains a target for Russian missiles. Just 3 days ago, Doctors Without Borders reported missile strikes in a residential neighborhood near a hospital there.
A lot of people, and from Nikolaev, we are transferring people from Nikolaev to Odessa. It's not safe, but sometimes it works. Yeah, even from Kiev, people coming to Odessa to reach this region and border stations, because we are not so heavily occupied. And normal way now just to go to Palanca. Few buses and trains coming on daily basis, and also to Romania. It's train goes directly to Romania from Odessa once a day, and even to Lvov in a western part of Ukraine is exists a train on daily basis moving to Lvov, and they can leave Poland and Slovakia directly.
It can be hard to wrap your head around, but Ukraine is still a functioning country. Trains run several times a day from all over. Most of them are now evacuation routes. Trash gets picked up, people still have to work. They work in bomb shelters. But in the middle of all that, evacuations and shelter are now a fact of daily life for a quarter of Ukraine's population.
For now, it's not a problem. You can reach first or second train. If you want to go with man, so it would be problematic. But if you, for example, girl with kids, it's not a problem to leave it.
It's great to hear, because just about 1 week ago, the people are waiting in a line about 8-10 hours, and it was very crowded, and a lot of people was screaming.
Yeah, I can guess that Ukrainian trains operator was adopted to this situation and put it some better or more trains on these lines on these directions. Daily basis, he's adding some additional trains in some heavy loaded regions like Dnipro. It was problematic to leave this city where you should wait. Dnipro, yeah. You was able to wait a few days to reach the train. It was 8 trains you can skip to sit on. Now it's much better, and it's it's still problem to leave the first train, but second usually it's okay. It's much better. Maybe these days, week ago, more people were going to west of Ukraine. The number of people living is less, and also, some experience they got, and they optimized maybe border stations and refugee camps on them. Now I know on Poland side is some problems to leave some refugee camps like Rubeshov. It's really overloaded, and there are not such amount of trains and buses coming out from this city, and people are looking for a way how to leave it with personal transport and taxi.
As you heard from our interpreter and fixer, the situation for evacuees is completely different. It is much better than just a week or two before our interview took place. Even as evacuating Ukraine becomes more efficient, with fewer people fleeing than in the beginning days of war, with better train accommodations, the cases Yury handles can still be quite complex, usually when children or the elderly are involved.
Yeah, in my case, it was a really complex case about week ago. It started, and the man with his mother, she's disabled, and yes, she was unable to move. She tried to leave country and moved through Poland by my recommendation, and met the problem that nobody was able to help him on the Poland side. Ambulance, what we called, just put him from border crossing station to about 1 kilometer on Poland side, and was waiting for the taxi. What I called him. Then we moved him by taxi to refugees camp, and next day from refugees camp to Krakow at night, and then they just, without any help on Krakow, it was really confusing me. They reached Prague just 3 days ago, and now it's okay, but the old lady was almost dying when she reached Prague. It was horrible. She was already sick and disabled, but of course, it was 13 days travel for this lady.
Wow.
It was really, really hard to survive. I'm still in contact with her son. and I know what today she is much better and can talk and understand things. But when I met in Prague with um, ambulance, she was almost immovable, and she was unable even to open eyes, and uh, yeah, it was really hard to see it.
So does you meet them in Prague?
Yeah, yeah.
So are they living right now with you, or?
No, but yeah, her son just looking for job, and now today I helped him to pick up his clothes and stuff from one place and move to hotel not far from me. And yeah, on daily basis he is visiting his mother in ambulance hospital, and yeah, talking with me, and also already trying to help people, Ukrainian people in the same situation in Czech, because he already knows about what to do, where to come, what to ask. So I'm in contact with some of refugees that I helped already, three of them at least here in Czech, and I'm speaking with them daily basis.
Personal lives also are complicated. There is no such thing as a typical family, and it's the nuance of personal life that can lead to further complications.
Most hardest cases are not finished yet. So, for example, I have one man who is living not far from Nikolaev in a hot region, and he has three kids, and he's not a real father for him. He was living with Very's mother, and Very's mother was died about a month ago. And I supporting him by money because three kids and they're in small village, they need money. But they really most hardest thing is to convince them that they have to leave this area because they don't. They're afraid to move and they don't know where to move. And he knows that probably he will not cross the border because he's not a father, and we're trying to resolve this problem with getting kind of him documents that he will be a person who caring about them. Nobody can care about them, and this case is still open, and I'm looking to way how to resolve it. Yeah, most of these cases is old people who were lived on the same territory in the same house for tens of years, maybe from whole life. So it's really hard to convince them to leave this house, and maybe they are afraid that this house will be never exist in future. I don't know. A lot of people have special cases like mother that cannot walk or even sit, and they need special transportation, and not able to go by train or bus. So these cases are most complex and taking a lot of time to resolve.
In some instances, families face the hardest decisions of perhaps their entire lives. To save a child or children, families may decide to split up. A month ago, March 8th, a video surfaced of a boy walking alone at the Polish border. The claim was that he had been sent to the border alone, but it was later clarified that he was actually following his mother, just outside the video's frame. Unfortunately, there are real instances of children being evacuated on their own.
I met one guy that just arrived to Prague. I was volunteering in translations in Prague in railway station, and one lady came to me and saw that a small guy about 8 or 9 years just arrived, and his mother is still in Ukraine, and she asked me what to do. I just uh, answered for the place about the place that she can come with his kid, and I don't know unfortunately what happened next, but yeah, it's not a common case, but sometimes it's happened. Yeah, mother decided to save kids.
In some of the hardest hit areas, helping to leave has limited options for people trying to evacuate. If there are no green corridors, if there are no safe routes out of a city or village, the advice is to stay sheltered, to stay where they are, to not attempt to evacuate.
Main problem is that's not any safe way outside from the city. For example, from Mariupol, first attempts was failing because they started to fire on a column of buses, and for now uh, it's not safe to stay there and to leave the city, and nobody can guarantee that tomorrow will be any way to leave the city.
I guess what is the guidance that you can give people who are still in Mariupol?
So just keep yourself in some safe place. Just try to get some resources like water and food, and wait for good news. If we will have this green corridor possibility to get them out, we will let them know.
After a city has undergone severe attacks or is surrounded, it can be difficult to convince people that evacuation is even possible. In spite of the validity of the information helping to leave receives, the situation in a bombed city seems much different to the people still living there. When a green corridor opens, and if there have been reports of civilians being targeted while leaving, people will be hesitant to use the evacuation route. In war, green corridors are not permanent. They may close. Hesitating on an open route means people may miss their chance to escape.
Yeah, at least from Kharkov, we evacuated one girl, had already 3 kids, and she was pregnant on the last few, maybe 2 months. And I know that a child was born already. I really didn't ask, was it on the Ukrainian side or somewhere else, but we were moving them to Poland. So it was really emotionally interesting case, and for now I know that everything is fine.
So she was pregnant and decided to leave from Kharkiv, right?
Yeah, so it's not really difficult to leave Kharkov, at least after a few days of attack. So it was open from the south side almost every time. But people in Kharkov didn't want to leave, and they were afraid that they will be shooted on the way. And there were some cases when they were shooted. And it was a little bit personal for me because sister of my friend here in Prague tried to leave Kharkov, and first day she did not come with buses when the green safe corridor was created. She didn't come because she didn't believe that it's safe. Second day, everyone wanted to reach this bus, and about 600 people tried to sit on buses that can handle about 1,000 people. And third day, she definitely decided to leave, but corridors were not open this day. I'm happy that the day after this day, they were able to leave Kharkov. So first days of occupation for a city, it's really hard to decide leave it because people cannot believe that they are in danger. Usually in few days we understanding that we are in danger, and we are really in danger in that days, and it's much harder to get them off from this danger.
Finding an evacuation route, believe it or not, is kind of the easy part. Moving people from point A to point B to safety has complications. Telegram is the primary means of communication, usually the only form of communication, and keeping a phone charged becomes a primary concern for evacuees. Charging phones is the primary concern for thousands of people, so being able to actually do it is not guaranteed. And while free options for evacuation exist, there is also the likelihood that people will have to pay for transportation if they are not using a train or a bus, if they have to get a ride with someone else. The price for a car ride was, in the beginning days of war, 3,000 to 4,000 euros. The price has come down a lot, but the price to save one child is about 200 euros.
Yeah, usually this trip takes, for example, from Dnipro to Lvov, it will take 1 up a few days. because we are changing cars and trains and in queues in traffic, and maybe our people will take them to and put to another train or bus. And in trains and buses, there are no way to charge your phone. It's a big problem that people go in with phone, and first hours it's completely discharged. And as I know, kids cannot ask for help, at least the same way as adults can. So we're just staying without a charged phone, without connection with parents. It's a problem. Even in trains, maybe now situation is better, but first evacuation trace was equipped by 3 chargers per train, and so it's impossible to charge phone.
So I know that average price for drivers who drive some people from Ukraine, it's about 200 euros, right, for one person?
For now, yes, but for example, first days of attack to Kharkov, it was priced to 3,000 euros each border. It was crazy.
So now it's about 200 of euros. It's just to bring one child from Ukraine and move them to a safe place, right?
Right, but almost always exists some freeway. If you're at least if you are in a big city already, so it's almost always exists some way to reach any Europe country for free, completely.
As I mentioned earlier, helping to leave does not advocate for evacuation to Russia. Some people do make that decision to go to family, but this is rare. The real situation that people taken to Russia are being abducted and taken across the Russian border. There, people are searched, interrogated, and their passports are taken. They lose all contact with the outside world. Their phones are taken away. They are accused of being Ukrainian operators. They're also held in camps.
Yeah, sometimes people deciding to go to Russia. It's not a kind of problem from my side. Maybe they have relatives there, and maybe they are feeling that it will be better. But in most cases, what I just saw in at least our organization, it was like, for example, bus or personal car is coming to Mariupol and just telling that we can evacuate you. And instead to move to Zaporozhye, for example, to Ukrainian side, they're going to Russian side, to Rostov. And yeah, people writing us that where are we going? We're going to Russia. So that they're literally just kidnapping people sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Is it a common situation that people trying to leave to go to Russia by their willing?
No, it's happened sometimes, but it's kind of exception. So one thing that I know that they're taking from them their passes. It's really happened, but what happened next, I don't know. I know that some people from Russia, of course, helping refugees also. I don't know how many refugees now go into Russia or kidnapped or go by themselves, and how many of them getting help. Some of them definitely. So the Russians making kind of shows how they're helping refugees on Russian side, but the rest I'm not sure because there are no massive news about massive refugees. Not a lot of information about this.
Yury left Russia about 15 years ago, around the time of the Russo-Georgian War, a point he says that Russia crossed all lines of how normal people think, when Russia sent troops beyond its borders and began killing its neighbors. Keep this in mind when the social media hot takes suggest this war isn't that bad, that Putin is justified, that Ukraine is full of Nazis or whatever they're saying. This same narrative has been used repeatedly, the same way the US uses terrorism to justify foreign intervention. For Russians like Yury, it was a sign that the Russian government was devolving. He's lost friends over the past 15 years.
When, for example, I left country permanently 1 year before Georgian conflict, and when the Georgian conflict happened, I already knew what something it will continue. So with our countries from ex-Union, it will continue. And when past happened, I was pretty sure that it was made by some particular reason, and now I know the reason. We just crossed the line, but after that, nothing to discuss with them. They just cross all lines of normal people thinking. They started to kill people outside Russia.
Yeah, I just curious. Have you ever bumped into a situation when you meet with very opposite opinion about all of this? That a lot of people was dying in 2014, and that we just trying to help. And how
Yeah.
did you manage this communication?
I'm trying to keep my emotions in some borders, because I really don't know what happened with them. With some of my friends that were visiting me in Prague just a few years ago, and we were walking, and they was normal people, so they was mindful, normal friends. And for now, I'm just trying to find some key how I can change their minds. So I'm not aggressively spamming them by real news, trying to understand what happened to them and how to get them in their minds, normal minds, because I cannot believe that they're really thinking about this situation as they're telling about it.
Yeah, I'm lost several friends just because we were like, I mean, it's hard. Even because it's hard, because when you start to talk about this, you very fast move from discussion of the conflict to discussion of your personality, like very personal things. But it
When you don't have arguments, it's just one option.
yeah. And also I identified that the main believers, it's the people who are not able to leave Russia. If they are not able to leave Russia, so I think it's like a self-protection. They wish to believe that Russia is not a killer, is not a murderer, and for this reason they switch to this.
Yeah, I just can guess that one main reason that the truth is so hard for them that they just unable to believe. Yeah, first thing is propaganda. So it's when I'm visiting Russia, it was really impressive thing that from every corner is. They started from small things, yeah, just 10 years ago, from just coloring one small piece of white to black color, and now everything is black. They moving step by step, and unbelievable, but it's really effective job. People who live in this territory, pressure of propaganda 10 of years, they can just it's another world, another dimension. They have own truth, and it's impossible to just tell them that everything is different. So as Putin said, that there are no border of Russia, so they just will continue, because I think he's crazy, or it's really impossible to believe the things that he's telling.
Helping to Leave has helped evacuate 7,000 people from Ukraine since February 24th, the day Russia invaded. Each evacuee has been helped by a network of supervisors, operators, and specialists. They are volunteers who work 24/7 with a single goal: save as many lives as possible. Most of them have direct connections to both Ukraine and Russia, family and friends spread across the borders. Some relationships are strained, some are kept in secret. Yury doesn't tell his parents how he volunteers his time to keep them safe. He doesn't, in his words, spam his Russian friends with, quote, real news, but hopes to find another way to change their views on the war, if that's possible. He believes it is. Helping to Leave accepts donations, and they are looking for Russian and Ukrainian speakers to volunteer. helpingtoleave.org.